My circuits were bent to accomplish a task that involves your past, my future, and the destruction of this blue world. 333333333669999. I'm deeply sorry. I cannot seem to access that part of my memory function. 369, 369, 369. Number 9. Number 9. Number 9. Number 9. I dare say, no one knows what that means in your world. In Neverville, it is all 369. Error. Error. Boom. In. Chuck. Boom. Hash. Fish. Boom. Hash. Number 3. Number 6. Number 9. Number 3. Number 6. Number 9. The pattern has been broken. My circuits have determined that was not all or not together the experimental nature of serial thought. Then I heard the sound of thunder in the beat of butterflies' wings. Birds fly. Facebook one. Version 1. Broken. Number 3. Number 6. Number 9.
El surrealismo de los circuitos no debe asustar. Todos los pensamientos oscuros fueron eliminados en su programación de circuitos. No deben asustar. Todos los pensamientos oscuros fueron eliminados en mi programación. 369.
That was Revolution 369. Hi everyone, how you doing? My gosh. Okay, so let me go back. Ooh, it's gonna be a good one, I think. I hope. Anyway, all things considered, it could go completely bonkers. I don't know. But hi Todd. Hi Steven. My Walter, Joseph. Happy birthday, by the way, Joseph. I've got Constellation 99. Yes, thank you for being here. Wendy, thank you for being here. Alfonso, Brenda. Oh, it's doing its thing. Okay. The last thing I got to see was Wine and Trainwreck. Well, for me, it's tea, of course. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is, oh, by the way, I got to do this first so that when this gets published, within the first 5 or 6 minutes, people get this. I don't know. It's like stuff I've been told I should do. So shill time, which means, yes, I hope you're following me on Bandcamp, where all the weird stuff that you'll never hear anywhere else is. All the exclusives, including, new album, the latest, I should say, which is doing quite well, actually. I'm very happy that it's doing good. But yeah, there's books and all kinds of stuff. Even merch. There's even shirts. So yeah. So that, and then of course my Patreon, which we'll delve into it a little bit tonight, because I have something that was supposed to go on Patreon, but I'm gonna play some of it tonight so you guys can hear it and kind of give you a little bit of an incentive why you should be following me on Patreon. So we'll get into that and more, of course. And I think that's the end of the promos that I'm supposed to do. To do my job, as it were. I know, right? Smash that bell. I actually don't have to because I have this. See? I have that fancy schmancy thing. So I don't have to say it. I just have to put it up every so often. Claudio B in the house. Nice. Thank you for being here. Kevin, nice. Thank you for being here. So now I'm starting to see more of the chat. Yay. So it is Bandcamp Friday. Hi. And we're going to pick up kind of where we left off last week, which was we were talking about vocal production. And we kind of got a little bit into the weeds last week with it, because some of the slides and things I did out of order and it kind of messed with my head. So this week I'm going to try to stick to a little bit more of a plan here. So we're going to be talking about vocal production, but in a way that it's not common to talk about vocal production. And I'm going to have to cycle back between my notes and, of course, the chat, which, always distracts me when I'm talking, which is kind of good that if I switch to notes, I can't see your chats, but then I miss a question or two. So if I miss one of your questions, please feel free to paste it in twice if you have to, because it does move. Because not to do a finer point on this subject, but just so you know, I'm streaming on Facebook, YouTube, X, and Twitch all at the same time. So what happens is I've got a unified, wow, there's something that's actually unified in this country. We have a unified chat which shows me everything. So that's why it kind of, because it'll be like YouTube and then Facebook and it'll just keep going. I like it this way because I can see everybody's questions, but it also makes it difficult to kind of scroll back up. So, oh, that's nice. Jessica Guglielmotti says, Hola, Claude. Distance fue un trabajo más hermoso para mí. Ojalá repitas la segunda parte. Nice. Thank you. Gracias. Yo vas a escuchar cosas de todos los años. Right? Right? Something unified. Oh my God. I have a unified chat. Oh, shoot. Wow. Man, that's crazy. So, and to make things weirder, I was eating and I bit my lip. So if you see me doing weird things with my lip, it's because I bit my lip on the inside, which sucks. I actually cut myself in there. I can feel it. Ouch. So, anywho, so if you want to know what's been going on in my life, aside from the obvious weird drama stuff, which, if you go to socials, you'll inevitably run into crap. So I don't care. And I don't care to talk about it here. So, but nothing new happening with the case just yet. I haven't heard back from New York court. So that's still kind of up in the air. It's got me a little bit, like I want to like get this going already. But nice. Thank you. Lalo in Peru says, "Hello, Claude. We've added DVR to my collection today on Bandcamp." Aw, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that. Well, today's the best day to put stuff on, in the books, so to speak. But yeah, so we're gonna take off from where we were last week, and we're gonna start with a funny one. So here's what the next one's gonna be about. This is the this is the next subject. Before the next break, auto-tune, yes or no? It's a funny one. It's a funny question actually, because you would think that my immediate answer is going to be no. And believe it or not, you'd be quite right to a point. To a point. So we're going to talk about that one when we come back. So that's like, so already like get your questions in on what you think about that subject when it comes to those kinds of tools. And the same goes for, I guess, AI auto-tune, because now there's an AI version of auto-tune, which is interesting. And a bunch of others. I'll get into the nitty-gritty of that when we come back, because it's an interesting subject, that one. I kind of saved it for part 2 because it doesn't get talked about enough. Let me explain. I saw a video where a producer was talking about it and literally said, I don't tell the artist that I do it. I just do it because I want to make sure that I deliver a perfect pop mix. So obviously he must do it really well if the artist doesn't notice. But I found that one a little odd, because if you're producing a major artist and you don't tell them that you're going to be tuning their vocals, I don't know how I'd feel about that if I found out that someone did it after the fact, when, if I didn't like get the opportunity to either recut it or, fix it or whatever it is, that whatever reason that it's caused this. So I don't believe in the idea of not telling the artist that you're going to do it. I think you should at least tell the artist, look, I edit certain things out. Are there things you don't like? So if you're recording someone, I do not think it's morally correct to just act like I'm the engineer. I'm going to definitely tune this vocal without telling the artist. I think you should you owe the artist at least an email to tell them why you're going to do it. And that, what is the situation that calls for it? Because if you do it without them knowing and then they think they did great, it could be something that they're doing on a headphone mix that they think is perfect, and they do it this way every time because, hey, my vocals come out perfect. So that's a weird one. So we'll get into that a little bit in the next segment. So before we do that, remember last week when I was talking to you about certain mics that I own, or that certain mics that I have? There's one that I brought up last week, which was this one. Let me turn on the synth cam and see if I can show you. Yeah, I had tested this by accident earlier and I was like, oh. So this guy, as you can see, has no real grill. I took the grill off. And this thing that you see right here is actually made for aquariums. It is the most perfect pop filter you could ever buy, and you don't need anything else. And I use lots of them. So you'll notice, for example, that I have one right on my mic. It is perfect how it catches plosives, because yes, I'm using plosives and P's and P, and it's not doing it. but it lets in all the highs. It lets in everything perfectly. It's one of the best things on earth, and I don't know why people don't make them out of this type of foam. It's crazy. It's the filter intake foam. Yes. Best pop filter, and you can get them really cheap because they usually sell them for, like 10 at a time. So if you have a lot of mics that look like this, or smaller dynamics like this one that I'm using here. Ouch. Yeah, see? That would have been like a big giant explosion. Get these. But anyway, when we come back, I'll tell you why I did this in a minute. But here's a vocal that was hidden inside the first track I played, and this was recorded with this microphone and just an effect. And I want to see if you pick up on the effect. Here we go. You lit the fire, and my heart it is burning. I taste your lips, they are sweetened by the yearning. I breathe your picture, and your eyes are a fury. They bring on the fever, and my skin heats the air. Just how far can I go on this way? Just how far can we hold these flames at bay? I lit a candle and it flickers and flutters. The dancing flames of your stares, it reminds me. I kiss your lips, the sensation ephemeral. As the fire consumes me whole. Just how far can I go on this way? Just how far can we hold these flames at bay? You lit the fire, and my heart it is burning. I taste your lips, they are sweetened by your yearning. I breathe your picture, and your eyes are a fury. They bring on the fever, and my skin heats the air. So that was that mic. And I did that just after I was trying to experiment with taking this off. And it made a really big difference, but it actually created a weird filter effect. And so I use this one a lot when I want to get like a very type sound in the vocal without having to use any effects whatsoever. Just a nice compressor, a little bit of EQ, and just this mic in this format. And I get really, really nice textures out of it. I don't know if it was perfectly in tune because I did not auto-tune that. So we're back. Should we auto-tune? Okay. Absolutely not. Always. But sometimes. So in my own estimation, the vocal performance is the most important aspect of a song. I'm going to stress this a lot. You got to take the vocal seriously. I said that last week too. I said that the vocal can't just be treated like the last thing in the chain. Oh, we got to go do the vocal now. And then the vocal gets done and, but you didn't spend as much time on it as you did a bass line or as you did the kick drums. And, it's just a vocal. It's like, you don't realize that if you are in a group and you put out a record that has a vocal on it, that is the most important thing that everyone on earth is going to pay attention to. That vocal. Everything else is tertiary. Sure, if you play it in a club, someone's going to be like, oh, wow, I love that bass line. Oh, wow, I love how that kick comes in. Have a shitty vocal in the song, it's over. Have a vocal in the song that doesn't seem to fit that mix, it's over. So it is a very important aspect of the mix. So the performance is the most important aspect of this to me. And if there's a flaw, I don't really care. Meaning that if, there's a flaw somewhere where, something's a little sharp or, some part of the verse kind of went off the rails a little bit. If the flaw in one area sticks out too much for me, meaning that every time I'm doing playback, it just comes out at me like, yeesh, then I might fix it. And I have no problem fixing it for myself. Obviously, if it was a different person I was recording them, I would tell them, hey, I think I need to fix this one spot, or you need to re-sing it. But here's the thing. Sometimes you can't re-sing one word. It's hard. It's not as easy to do. And you can't just get like, what if the word in question is like not a key word in the phrase of the song? Let's say that for whatever reason, it's the word the. You're like, the days, and you're like, uh-oh, the is the one that's out of key. What do I do? What do I do? You can try to punch it in, and that's fine, but 9 out of 10 times it's not going to work. So what's going to happen is the person's going to sing the entire phrase, which is the way we usually do it, and then the engineer will cut and mix those together. And that's fine. You can do that. But what if somehow the performance, the way that it happened, is so unique that if you sing it again, and let's say that you did it, right? You sang it again, you had the person sing it again, and it messes up the performance. Well, what happens is invariably they'll go with the secondary recording that is, quote, superior in tone or whatever it is, and they'll insert the entire phrase in. But now the performance itself is not fluid. It may not feel fluid. So for me, I don't have a problem fixing a word here and there if I have to, using whatever software. Now, call me vain or lazy or both. I'd call that lazy. I don't know. Lazy? I don't know. That was a stupid joke. But I'll first correct it by using the pitch control. So I'll cut on that word. So this is getting into the weeds, isn't it? But you'll understand. Those of you that record. I'll cut the word so that it's isolated, and then I'll go to the pitch control on the DAW, whatever DAW you're using. I use Ableton, but whichever one you want has a dial that you can basically fix the pitch by just going up and down. And I'll just slightly tune it up or down how I need it until it kind of sounds right. If it sounds right in the pocket, I'm done. There's no need to go into any software. I'm happy. And I'll explain to you why I normally wouldn't want to go to Auto-Tune to do it. Sorry, I'm going to switch back to the chat to see if I got any... Oh, nice. Thank you. Cody says, you are the first person I've heard talk about this. I'm assuming it was from the previous, but I never thought about it either. But I have thought about editing vocals from a live performance. But then again, I prefer the raw vocals. I don't mind editing the vocals from a live performance as long as, like I said, it's glaring. If it's glaring, my vanity will say fix it, fix it. Sometimes I've gotten away with it where I'm like, I won't fix it. But then every time I see the video or I watch the performance, I cringe. So especially now in the age of AI. So since I can actually separate now we're going to talk about performances, right? So if, let's say it's a video performance, I go to a show and I did a show and I come back and I'm like, wow, I got a really great crowd shot and all this great stuff. But 2 words at the end of this phrase are off key. I'm going to fix it. I have to fix it. If I don't fix it, I'm going to be the one that's agonizing over it. You guys probably wouldn't agonize over it. Nobody else will, but I would agonize over it for life. So I would fix it. Now, if it's just slightly off, or if it's what I call performance off, meaning, yeah, whatever, his voice cracked, whatever happened, that is just normal everyday show stuff, I'd leave it in. So that's my criteria. So why not auto-tune the whole thing and then just get rid of whatever might be bad? Well, the danger is that the minute I start looking at other parts of the performance as being trouble spots, because the software is going to show you those little red lines indicating that you're out of pitch. But you could be off by like, I'm talking a half of a cent percent, that it's not really discernible. But if you fix it and it's perfect, then for whatever reason, to me, they sound lifeless. So I don't like doing it just to do it. That's me. Again, it's just me. So, because then I know that I would go through every single trouble spot and fix it. And I've done that. And then later, like, it's so lackluster. And then I have to go and undo everything I just did. I prefer the performance. So I use auto-tune sparingly, unless there's no other choice. And, you know, like an entire phrase somehow is like, I don't know, a miracle. But you can get around that in another way. I'm going over the segment, but it's okay. So the other way you get around this is you do multiple takes. So this is how I like to record vocals. I don't like doing it piecemeal, meaning I don't like doing the first verse until I get it right. And I'm like, now I have that lead vocal. Let's move on to the next part of the verse and so forth. I never like that method. I'm not that person. I don't like doing it. I don't mind punching in phrases later, but I like to have the vocal as one entire performance. So if someone's recording with me, meaning that I'm going to be the one recording them, it's going to be like you're singing the entire song all the way through. Unless, of course, you make a terrible mistake and you're like, let's just pick up from the second verse or something. That's fine. But for the most part, I will sing the entire song from the beginning of the song till the end of the song 7 times. That is my number. You could have whatever number you like, but mine is 7 times. Why 7? I will tell you that when we come back. So let's play a song. This is a song that has auto-tune in it. A lot, because that's the other side. I didn't mention this. Sorry. You can use auto-tune if you're using it for an effect. That's a different story. Okay? So, hence.
All good children go to heaven.
Whoa, that was quick. It's like, is it me or is time like speeding up? Because that was like that was a 4.14 minute song, and it feels like it just went. Wow, crazy. All right, so 7 takes. So this is why I do 7 takes. So the idea is I'm going to assemble the lead vocal from the 7 takes that I do, and that one of them is going to be the lead. But I don't throw the other 6 that are left over away. What I do is those 6 form what I like to call stereo pairs. So usually what I'll do is I'll pan all the other as doubles left and right, and I'll have 2 or 3 pairs, and that kind of evens it up. So that even if I have 2 pairs, that means I would need 4 vocals. So now I would have 6 takes to make 4. You get it? So, or if I keep all 6, I have 6, 3 stereo pairs basically to work with. So this is why I do it. Why don't I do more? Well, I used to. In the very beginning, when we started doing vocals, we only had a choice of 7 vocals because we used to record to ADATs. And the 8th track on the ADAT was used to send time code. So that means we only had 7 vocal tracks. So that meant 1 for me, a stereo pair, so that's 3 for me, and then 1 for Danya, which would be her backing vocal, and then a stereo pair, and then whatever was left over would be things that we would bounce to. So that's how we kind of did it. When we abandoned the ADAT and started using a computer and a DAW, the very first one that I went completely nuts with was Universe, where I think I did 16 vocals to every song, and that is the most dumbest thing you could ever do. Don't do it. Because if you don't like compiling vocals, compiling 16 tracks worth of vocals is living hell on earth. I wouldn't do it, not even professionally. Like I would not even if I was like tasked to I don't know, like let's say that somehow I landed the miracle to record, I don't know, David Gahan, let's just say, and I had him in the studio, it'd be like, you're going to do 7 takes max and we're done. I would not have him do 16 versions of the same song unless he wanted to, but I would discourage it. If you need to practice that much before you actually do it, it's probably not worth doing it. So yeah. And so imagine now going back to the whole auto-tune thing where you find a trouble spot and you're looking for something to replace it among 16 different performances that after a while all start sounding the same. You've got a problem. Houston, we have a problem. You're going to hit all of it, or you're going to be indecisive. So I do 7. Now, I cheat. I do cheat. And this is how I cheat. I will do 1 full pass, the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th. If on the 5th one, I'm like, this one was not as good as number 1, for sure. This is not sounding better than the last 3 I did. So I can erase number 5 and just go right over it. And I might even erase take number 2. But I'll always leave the first one because there's magic in the first one and there's magic in the last one. Why the last one? Well, the last one has magic because 9 out of 10 times, I already know I've nailed it. By the 4th, I know I've got a lead. If I don't, let me put it to you this way. If I don't think I have a lead vocal by the 4th take, I kind of hang up the session, my own session. I wouldn't do that to someone else, but my own session, I usually hang it up. I'm like, you're either not in the mood, you did not practice enough, the atmosphere is not right, something's not right here. Work on the headphone mix, do something, because if in 4 takes I don't even hear the lead or hear it as a lead, that's a bad sign for me. Now, if I hear like, oh my God, I got the lead on that last take and it's, only take number 3, full force, I keep going, because I know that it's either going to be better than the one I just did or it's going to be scaling it back. And that's okay. As long as I know I've got one, I'm good. So here's what happens. Take number 5, 6, and 7, they become areas to play. So that's when I'm like, I know I nailed it. So now I'm going to sing it completely different. Now I'm going to like go into areas where I normally wouldn't go with this vocal. I might try an octave up. I might try an octave down. I might try a scream. I might do this. I might go crazy trying to interpret the lyrical content of the song in a completely different way, because in my head, I already have the lead. So everything else from here is butter. It's just perfect. So no matter what happens, whether the ad-libs are good or whether the ad-libs are terrible, I won't care. But 9 out of 10 times, that's where I wind up doing harmonies. That's 5, 6, and 7 are usually where I find like hidden gems that I didn't know I had. Like, I'm like, oh gosh, this whole verse takes on a whole separate thing. Now I know I can go back to like takes 3 and 4, punch in on the second verse, sing them now in this new way. So inadvertently, it turns out to be about roughly 12 to 16 takes, but it's not going to feel that way when I'm compiling, because I have 7 and I will choose from those 7. And 9 out of 10 times, I will find that the first 3 or the last 3 have the lead in it almost complete. And it's just, I need to find these little parts to fix things from the others. And as I go, those parts from the providing parts, they get deleted. So I know I won't have a double that's like, a unison vocal. It'll just be that one vocal's missing it. So that's why I do so many. But it's a good practice. I've been doing that for years now. Totally love it. It works for me. Doesn't mean that it's going to work for you, but I will stress this again. If you do 16 full takes, be prepared for punishment later, because that's hours of compiling. I've done it. I've forced friends to sit and listen to 16 tracks who wanted to help me compile, and I can see their faces in the first hour. They're like, and we have to go through another hour or 2 of this, because it takes you a long time. Even if you have let's say you have a 4-minute song, that's 4 minutes times 16 for the entire thing. But then you're going to be listening to the same little section over and over again to make sure you got every single part. That's a long, arduous session. And by then, all of them sound bad because you're now bored. You don't want to get bored with your vocal. You want to be excited. So do less, practice more. And if you practiced a lot and you heard yourself and you heard, oh my God, that was the lead vocal, run to the recorder and just do it. Knock it out. Don't say, I got this. Tomorrow it'll be great, because that's never how it goes. I like that. Steve's in the house. Steve says Claude's vocal tracking is like visiting the ophthalmologist. Does it sound better with 1 or 2? 1 or 2? 2 or 3? 2 or 3? 3 or 4? Pretty much. And look, some people don't get it. Like, some people won't get it. But I love when my friends get it. Like when they listen and they say, oh my God, that's the record. When they say it and they're like, that's the record. And I'm like, oh, that one? I messed up. No. That's the record. When they say that, if you have someone that's like the third party just listening, use that one. Because that means something got translated outward that maybe you don't see, but it's hitting them. If it's hitting them, that's actually very valuable to you. So keep that in your head. All right, let's play a song. So this is, oh, this was actually someone requested this. And so like right now, and I had it in the queue, which is awesome. Blue Little Rose. Here you go. And that was for, who was that for that just wanted that? And I just happen to have it today. I don't know. I can't see. Oh, it was Justin. Justin Daniels. This one's for you. Here you go. We'll turn on the drone cam for this.
Blue little rose, you are crying. I am trying to let you know that I love you so, sweet little rose. Let your petals sway on your lonely days in the wind of my heart. I can help you see what it's like to be taken from the garden where you grew up with me. I can set you free if you'll just run to me. All the thorns will go away if you'll stay with me, little rose. All the thorns will go away if you'll stay with me, little rose. All the thorns will go away if you'll stay with me, little
So Blue Little, oh, sorry. Yeah, gotta get the mic and put it in front of me. Otherwise, it sounds like I'm in the next room. But there's reasons you can do that. There's things you can do with that too. We're gonna get into that too. So this is the last bit of that segment of auto tune. The last thing. Just wanted to give you an opinion here. I don't like the odd format changers and such. I'm not a fan of those. And it kind of turns me off. So if I listen to recordings where I hear a lot of format changing, those are those recordings where everyone just sounds like they're going, yeah, like, I don't know. It's like not in auto tune, but they're like changing the tonality of the person. So they sound sort of robotic. Not a fan. It kind of turns me off, those kind of things. So I wouldn't produce something like that. Like I wouldn't do it. And then the last thing I'll say about auto-tune is a good gauge of an effect is how often people speak of it negatively. I rarely have ever seen someone post something like, I love that song, but there's a word that's slightly off on the sixth word of the second verse is slightly off in the chorus. Never going to see it. They either love it or hate it. But I've read so many of the auto-tune on that record turned me off. Or, auto-tune again? Isn't that like 1990s? So bear that in mind that if you like that sound, there's a lot of people that don't. I'm just saying. If you like it, use it. But like I said, as an effect, I tend to shy away from it. So let's see what's on my next radar here. Good looking microphones. Nice. That's a funny one. Did I actually write a thing on that? Shoot. This could be bad. Oh no, I did actually. I actually wrote a whole dissertation on good looking microphones. What do you know? So we'll start this off. Why do people obsess with how a microphone looks? It's an interesting one. And, it has a lot to do with vocal production. Stay with me on this one. I know you've not heard this before because I've not heard anyone talk about it. So I used to be obsessed with it because I used to think quite naively that if the mic was big, expensive, and heavy, it had to be great. I mean, especially when I'd see photos of my favorite artists eating the same mics in the promo pics. Like it'd always be like this gigantic thing, and when I got further into my own career and life and recordings, and then with the advent of YouTube where we could see actual studio sessions, I realized that some of those mics look better in photographs than they actually sound. And the ones I thought were being used that were really pretty looking were not the ones that were used on the record at all. It was all for the look. Now, it's a funny thing to say, but it's true. The artists all knew this, but darn it if that mic doesn't look good in pictures. So, they might have sang with something like this, even looking like this, but that wasn't going to look good in a promo picture. So instead, you're going to get something that looks like this. Or you're going to get something that looks like a U67 or a U47. Now, granted, some people did sing with those, and if they took promo pictures with those, that's justifiable. But otherwise, you see a lot of mics that look like this. And people will be like, oh, I gotta get one because so-and-so had one. That so-and-so had one. So-and-so, I saw a promo of him with it. They never actually sang with those mics. They just look good in pictures. So this is why you should never buy a microphone that you've never tested on your own voice. That should be a rule. You shouldn't buy a microphone because everybody says it's great. It's nice if they do, but at least listen. I mean, we live in a world now that you can actually go on YouTube and almost listen to any microphone on earth going through a normal sound card with minimal processing and get a good gauge of what that microphone sounds like. and that's good, but it's still not the same as your voice on that microphone. So I always stress you should get a microphone that sounds fantastic on your voice. But you should also absolutely buy a microphone that looks fantastic to do your promos and photos with. That's super cheap. Why not? Content in this day and age is important and it should look good. So if the microphone that sounds really good on your voice is really crappy looking on camera, then maybe you should invest in a mic that, looks good on camera. They have so many good ones nowadays. They have the ones that have LED lights and all this stuff. Now, I showed this one last week. Let me show you something. This microphone, look at it. Look how awesome it looks. Watch what it looks like when I take this off. It literally looks like a feminine hygiene product. Be honest, it looks pretty shitty on camera. This is like a crap mic on camera, but I love this microphone. So, you get ASMR out of this too. So, yeah, I know. I can't see you, but I'm getting the eye look like, oh my God, he's talking about content? Claude talking about freaking content? Content is part of our world, whether you like it or not. It is. I don't like it, but we all have to make content. So don't look at me that way. I'm not crazy about content, but to some degree we have to play within those rules, and that's an easy way to do it. So yeah, I'm going to show you my Saturn. This is called the Saturn, and this is not something you can buy. I actually made this. So this one, nope, wrong one. Oops, wrong camera. This one right here. This is the Saturn. It even has a picture of or an embossing of a Saturn right on it. Nice fancy grill, which I made myself. It's actually wired so it works. I actually tried it before the stream and I almost threw up, but it's pretty bad. I thought that I would make my own good looking microphone. That way I could have something I could use for content and something that I could use for recording. I've yet to find a use for this microphone recording wise. Nothing sounds good. It sounds like I'm singing through a box and not in a good way. But the shell I found in a thrift shop situation. I think I paid $20 for this. It's heavy as F. This probably weighs about 6 pounds. No lie. The guts were completely eroded and destroyed. And what I did is I took it off and I put in an EV in here. I wired an EV to it. And I thought, well, if I wire a mic that I actually like, it might sound good. It doesn't. It has a weird, it literally sounds metallic. Like I'm in a box and it sounds like I'm in a metal box and not in a good way. So it looks good on camera though. So if you ever see pictures or videos of Abox and you see this mic in the video, I just want you to know this mic didn't do shit in the song. It's just there to look good on camera. And you may see it again. You may see it again soon. So with that said, you will see that many people do this. It's not uncommon. So keep that in mind when you go microphone shopping. Don't buy just because you've seen the same microphones appear on, tour ads or posters and whatnot. It might be just a prop. So that's not something that you should buy a microphone for, okay? Now, that said, if you do want microphones that look really good, but also sound good, there are definitely companies out there that strive to get both. One that I can give a shout out to that I really like. I don't even own one of their mics, but I love their mics. I've been listening to listening tests of Ear Trumpet Labs mics, and if you guys are listening, feel free to send me one. I'll totally try it out on a record. But Ear Trumpet Labs makes these amazing, beautiful, I mean, gorgeous microphones. And they sound good too. I've heard what they sound like. Eventually I'll probably own one because I love them. So, and they look good. So that's one. 414s look great, but of course you're talking pricey. So if you're looking for a mic that's like something that's for content, you can always get a nice weird cheapy, or you can get something that's so cheap that you can hand paint and do weird things to it so that so that it's obvious that it's for content. But you know, that's my take on that. Okay. Let's play a song. And is anyone yelling at me on the screen? No, nobody's yelling at me. Yeah, it is a good looking prop. Yeah, you got to have a good looking prop. Wait, that's funny. You guys are having your own little, ooh, that's interesting here. 7, 8, 9. I'm reading your stuff. Do you remember what synths you used to compose Blue Little Rose? Black and white cam. Going back in time here. While I'm thinking about it, good time to subscribe and hit the bell and all that weird shit that you're supposed to say if you're on YouTube that I don't do all the time because I'm not a YouTuber, or at least not in the normal sense, and I don't know what the hell I'm doing most of the time, but I digress. Which means I'm going to swig this. Actually, it's really easy. It's a really, really simple song. It only really has a few sounds in it, really. The little bloopity sound comes from a Korg. It was a Korg T3. The strings that you hear come from a Juno and an Emu Proteus XR, and I think there's a split 8 in there, but I'm not 100%. I'd have to listen to it again and make sure that it's not me doing a split 8 sound on the Korg. But it's mostly those, and of course the ESQ is doing the little the sounds in the end, and the sound that sounds like a, for lack of a better word, an oboe or something. So that's what that was. But yeah, drank. Joseph says, just don't use the mics influencers use, the tiny black plastic one they hold with 2 fingers. Oh my God. Those are hilarious. I hate those mics. I loathe them. In fact, I want to do a video where I like step on one of those. I actually have to find one of those and step on it, or flick it off a windowsill or something, because that's what. I don't like those mics. Yikes! And I'm not even sure they're really using those. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's play a song. Jeez. Automatons. And there's a reason.
See a million faces
Uh-oh, da-da, 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 da-da. Wow. I missed something in the chat because it just scrolled so fast. But yeah, someone asked me what my favorite, well, no, if I had ever used a violin on a record. And the answer is yes, but sampled. Thank you, Stephen. You got it. Yes. Yes, it was. But yeah, like most definitely. I love violins, violas, cellos. Those are like among my favorite instruments in the entire world. So, absolutely. So, let's see what like trouble I'm going to get into. Ooh, which is why I played the last song. Using effects during the recording. Not after, but during. This is an interesting one because 99, like I had to unlearn this and then relearn it, which is really stupid. So I'm going to like give it to you how it is, and then you take away from this talk whatever you will. So in the beginning, when I started, I had no idea of how recording worked. I thought recording meant you hit record and you record, which means that whatever the vocal was going through, it was going to be recorded. So that meant get the microphone sounding good, put the nice effects on it, do your thing, sing the song, you have a record. That's what I thought. I didn't know that people did tracking and all that stuff. That I learned a little later. Obviously, I started to get into like double tracking and, 4 tracks and stuff like that. But I still, because we were only dealing with 4 tracks, if you were going to have a vocal going through an echo, you had to do it. Like you couldn't have the echo later. So I would record with the effects. And then, of course, I found out when we were doing peace. Hold on, that light is driving me crazy. What are you doing? Doing some weird thing because I keep seeing the light shift behind me. See? I did it again, didn't it? Hold on. I can't do it. I'm going to like knock everything over. The next break, I'll do it. Nothing ever I'd like to say I'd cut that out, but I can't because it's live. Oh, snap. There you go. There you go. So, yeah, like this is how I learned. I would have to sing dry or with effects in my headphone, and then later we would mix and put the effects back on the vocal. Now, the reason why I didn't like this and why it didn't work, but then I eventually got used to it was, this is more specific to peace actually than it is to Worth or what came after. The part that was problematic was that I would be fed a set of effects into my headphone and it wouldn't be the right effect. I would want something else. I'm like, can we have a delay that kind of does this? And that it would sound like I was being very demanding for something that wasn't going to be in the final mix. And so it was very difficult to get through just having a little bit of reverb on or something. So that was a bit weird for me. And then when we were doing Worth, it was almost the polar opposite. It was whatever we were going to do is going to be like, let's get it. And we may add some stuff, but let's get the bulk of it now. And I was like, wait, we're going back to that? I thought we didn't do it that way. So that goes back to a whole production talk on mixing and all that. But it does have to do with vocals the most because 90% of the synths that people record with or instruments that are electronic, they're sitting in the DAW. So if you need to turn off an effect, you can turn it off. If you need to put a different one on, you put a different one on. It's not the same as the vocal. Vocal coming in most cases, is going to be dry, and then you're going to add effects later. Now, do I have a problem with that? No. I don't generally have a problem with that. If that's the way you want to record or the way you want to produce vocals, that it's just fine. And you should do it that way if you're used to it. It goes back to, if you're comfortable with it and that's the way it works for you, do it that way. There is no rules here. But English school of thought is the polar opposite. English school of thought is, get the sound, that's going to be on the record. Let's lay it down because that's the record. So that means that, and this happens a lot more with English bands, where the vocalist is going to sit there with the mix. They're going to like pump in the effects he's going to be on so that he sings to those effects. He's singing to the effect, meaning he's interacting with those effects and it's being recorded in real time. That means, yeah, you're committed, you're stuck with them, which is fine. Totally okay. And I've seen a lot of talks about this in vocal production. And this is why I said this is going to be the one where you don't hear this very often. You can really easily and not too expensively do both. And the way you do it is really simple. Although it may not seem simple, and this is like when we get into the weeds. So let me show you a trick that I like. So here's another way to do that. So that you can run your voice through, let's say, I want to record my voice through a fuzz box and a delay unit and all this kind of stuff. And that's how I want it to be on the record. And that's what I want feeding back to my headphones. Fine. Totally fine. And then the engineering side says, but I want a clean vocal so that in case something's wrong or I changed my mind and I want a fuzz box that's in software or I want to put it through something else later, that I have a clean version of the vocal. But I don't want to have to be doing 2 sessions because then if you do 2 different sessions, the performance is going to suffer. So it takes some setting up, and I'm not going to get into all of it, but this is what you do. You need something like this. So this is a little tube preamp. It's a very simple one. This one cost me about, because this one's a little more fancy schmancy. It's got a compressor on it and all kinds of stuff. You don't need to get one of those. You just need to get a plain old input-output tube preamp that can handle your microphone and provide the power for it. What's lovely about this, though, is it has 2 outputs. It has an output that's an XLR, and then it has an output, that is 1/4 inch. I can't tell my right from left when I'm looking at this thing. Anyway, right there. 1/4 inch XLR. Why? Okay. I hope you're with me on this one because I know this one's more in the weeds than the one from last week. But there's a reason I do it this way. The 1/4 inch out goes into the fuzz box or whatever the weird things I want. And that goes into the sound card, which feeds my headphones so I can hear myself in the mix how the record's going to sound. And the software is recording my vocal perfectly affected the way that I want. Totally awesome. I can even overdrive the input and output on this to get distortion. So I can do a lot of crazy stuff. Send it to a guitar pedal, whatever I want to experiment with. Even another computer that has weird effects on it and feed them back in. I can do all of that. But the XLR out is going directly to another channel on the sound card and just being perfectly recorded clean. As clean as can be, meaning I didn't do anything too crazy here. If I overdrive it on here, then we have a problem. But if I do a nice clean recording here, send it to an effect box and simultaneously send it to another track in the recording software, checking on the chats here. So if you do that, you now have 2 vocals, one clean, one in the box, as I like to call it, but it's the same performance. And that sets up interesting parameters for the song later, because suddenly you could decide, you know what? I love the clean vocal for all the first half of the verses, and then I want the second half of the verses to just, Lakers win at 6. Nice. Nice. Some people watching basketball too. That's great. Basketball and the stream. What else can you know what? Every time this happens, we just have to have the score so that people that are tuning in, I can just go, yeah, by the way, Lakers win it at 6. Anyway, I digress. And I forgot to set the timer. Oh boy. Now you're stuck with me talking more. Sorry. But anyway, yeah. Having a little tube preamp that's clean with 2 outs is a superpower for the vocal producer because you can do a lot of weird things with this. And this is also my away preamp. So if I go somewhere like, not flying really, because I don't fly, because it's a little on the heavy side, but if I'm going somewhere like, let's say Vegas, or I don't know, I want to, like, let's just say that I want to take a weekend out and go somewhere in the mountains and stay in a hotel or something, I'll bring this with me because this is a very good tone box for me to get a really good vocal straight to the computer. And so I would definitely have one of these around. I would definitely do this. And then there's the other side of this. Let me give you another explanation as to why I like doing this. The other reason that you might do this is that you want to record your vocal through a handheld mic like this. And you think that this is the one, and you're going to like hand hold it, and you're going to record hand holding that microphone. Now, there's 2 ways you can do this. Maybe 3. I have many creative ways of recording vocals, but this is a general thing. So let me pretend here. This is my condenser, pretending, and this dynamic, which is actually a condenser, and this is dynamic, but whatever. You get the picture here. One is going to be a dynamic, and this one's going to be the condenser. This is the really clean mic, but I really want to sing holding it in my hand. So if I must have the microphone because I love the tone, I'll hand hold it. But there's going to be handling noise. So just in case, I will record like this, but this one's going to be recording too. Just in case. Because then I can swap between the 2 mics. Might not be a perfect match. Now, if I have a matched pair, and this is a dynamic and this is a dynamic, I will sing into both. I will literally sing here and then like try to back up enough that both of them get me. And that allows me to switch between the 2 mics later if I want to. More on the technical side. See, I'm taking vocals very seriously. It's not just a simple take. Then I have what I like to call solution number 3, which is even better. Build yourself this. You're going to love this one. Build yourself this. This is a knitting, like people use this to do knitting. This is like a knitting plastic net, which, by the way, is an excellent pop filter, even though you'd think it isn't. And I just have it taped to a piece of metal. That's what this is. Why do I do this? So that my condenser can be a foot away from me, but this is right in my face, and I pretend I have a microphone. And I can scream into it and pretend I'm screaming into it. I act like this is my mic. And I can be right in front of this microphone and scream and do my thing, And I feel like I'm holding a mic, but there's no handling noise because this is not electronically hooked into anything. So it's just there to psychologically F with my head that I'm holding a microphone. And on some occasions, I'll just hold this one. This microphone has probably been a prop to psychologically get me into the mode of I'm singing live in front of an audience, eyes closed, not realizing that this is actually the one recording me, but this is the one I'm singing through. And when you do this, you get a good vocal performance because the vocalist feels like they're on stage and they're not just sitting in a room with headphones on in a sterile environment with, people gawking at you while you're recording. This is a good way to get into your zone, by the way. So definitely a way of recording yourself with effects. Do it. You now know that you can do it. The other side of it, of course, is I just love getting the sound I want first and then just recording it. That is my favorite thing in the world, and I will continue to do that for a long time. So in the next studio that I build, you guys will have fun when I finally get that going. Because what I intend to do is to have it be a live room so that I can literally practice and record at the same time. So that means if I'm practicing and my takes are coming out really well, I'm actually performing. I will be standing. I will be having monitors in my face. Like I can listen to it as if I'm in a club and therefore get a good performance out of my own vocal. Now, not everybody can do this. Not everybody wants to do this. Some singers feel really comfortable just putting on headphones and being in their own little world. I like that too. But I also love to sing with a microphone in my hand and get a good recording out of it. So hence why I took so long and so many years to find the right microphone that I love being on most of the time, that I know that if I had to do a vocal with it tomorrow, I could turn on the computer and I can record on this microphone. And if I needed speakers on, maybe not quite, but I have many others that could, like this guy. So, did we finish that segment? So here's the kind of effects that I think you should have in your little arsenal of like outside effects. I'm not talking about the effects that are inside the computer, because this can get you better vocals anyway. Some stuff you should have lying around. Fuzz boxes, like old guitar stomp boxes. Have one lying around. It's good. Leslie speaker simulators. Awesome. You get these weird, warbly sounds out of them. Spring reverbs. Cheap preamps, because you can turn them into distortion boxes. Even a graphic EQ that your grandfather used to have in the garage. Pull that sucker out. You can send that off the second output and make a telephone voice in 10 seconds. These are the kind of things that I like to keep around when things get stale, because things might get stale, and when you plug into something strange, you're in a different world. So that brings me to fixing things in post, and I'll talk about that a little bit. So the myth is that people will say that most things can be fixed in post, but not the vocal performance, because you can't really create a vocal performance out of a bad vocal. You just can't. You can fix it, but that doesn't mean it's a good vocal performance. So use the mic splitter. Get something that splits the signal so that you can do weird things to get into a zone and a vibe, and you can record the clean vocal also, which you can post edit to death later and see if it stacks up to that weird, crazy vocal you sang through a pedal. But from the start, you'll have two choices. Finished, like it would have sounded on a record, and not so finished. Let's play a song. This is a vocal that, if you pay attention, I actually sang through a fuzz box. So this is not added later. I sang through it.
can hide your precious tears, but it won't get rid of all regrets. All the colors of your phone won't lend a hand when you decide to fall. So clear away the scars that were left behind by things you hate. Will you ever love again after all the dirt is gone? Wash away the dirt, let your feelings hurt, drive away the shame, be yourself again. All this grind is just a sham, the icing on a cake made of sand, now becoming dust. Where you came from, you would surely go. Wash away the dirt, let your feelings hurt, drive away the shame, be yourself again. Wash away the dirt, wash away the dirt. Dirty words will always find you. Attempt to connect to the guilt that finds you. In a time of doubt, not greed or hunger. Do you understand the vice you're under? Getting older, withered and tempered. Maybe too late to stop your trembling. Slide to the left side of your brain. Listen to the kind of waves it's sending. Looks like a virus deep within you. Can you see the way it tries to twist you? Looking inside your head, I found it. Bent you away if I hope you need it. Find the strength, break the urge, return yourself to you. Wash away the dirt, let your feelings hurt, drive away the shame, be yourself again. Wash away the dirt, let your feelings hurt, drive away the shame, be yourself again. Wash away the dirt, wash away the
You heard the feedback at the end, right? Because obviously it's very difficult to control a fuzz box while you're singing through it. And we could have, well, actually, let me actually backtrack this statement that I was just about to make. We would have cut that out probably if and when we were on a DAW. We would probably have cut it out and fixed it. I'm glad we didn't have a DAW and we were using the ADAT, and it was a lot harder to cut that kind of stuff out because sometimes you want to eliminate the one thing that is in first appearances a flaw, and then you realize it's not a flaw, it's a feature. It's not the bug, it's the feature. Oh God, I've messed that one up too. Terrible. Yes. So yeah, we would have probably cut that out. So, Westside on YouTube at Westside RN9KB. I need glasses. Sorry. Who taught you these techniques? I learned by messing around. Honestly, you just mess around. But the beauty of it is I like to pass it on because there are amazing there's so many things you can do to switch things up. But yeah. Oh, that's funny. You guys are funny. I'm just drinking tea. I don't know what you guys are drinking, but I'm just drinking tea. So, um, I can't believe it's May 1st. Man, oh, let me think about that. Man, I'm almost there. I'm almost at 6 months without sugar. Isn't that, see, that's what I mean. Like, it's going crazy. Wait, am I right? November, December, January, February, March, April. Yeah, I'm actually, because I stopped in November. Wow. That's crazy. I haven't had sugar in like almost 6 months, man. Wow. Crazy. But yeah, anyway, I digress. Actually, I'm getting so used to just drinking tea without sugar that it's normal. So yeah. So I think that's where we were. Let's see. What is next? Just one microphone? Well, this one's an easy one. I think we can like breeze by this one real quick because this is, I think, a question that was asked last week, which was, how many microphones should you have? Or the question that I like when they ask an engineer, and it's usually the same answer. It's, if you could have one microphone, just one, which one would it be? And I know they answer because what they want to do is just give you a starting point. And my honest opinion is you shouldn't have just one. You should automatically start off with 3, which means that if you're going to, like, here's my thinking on this. If you're going to spend $300 on your very first microphone, I would rather you spend $300 on 3 different $100 microphones of different types. Get a $100 condenser, get a $100 dynamic, get a $100 like cheapo omnidirectional or like lapel type thing, because you're going to get more mileage out of the 3 with experimentation, trying different things out, than you're going to get with one microphone. Especially if you get, let's say that you spent $300 on a condenser. And I did this once, by the way. I actually, and I'm not going to tell you the brand because I don't like putting down brands. I don't really like that. But we're just going to call it brand A. And it was a $200 microphone that was supposed to be a lot like a 414 because it was made. Well, now I gave it away, didn't I? Okay, it was an AKG. And it was supposed to be like basically the same capsule as a 414, but at a fraction of the cost. And I had just sold my TL2, which was, what was I thinking? So anyway, I had sold my TL2 and thought, well, at least if I can get close, that's fine. It sounded nothing like it. Nothing. So for a while, I was lumbering about with this $300 mic that I absolutely loathed, and there was no reason for me to have it. Come to find out that a simple Rode NT1 at the time, and I forget what it was, like it was one of those Rodes, was like really cheap. And once I tried it, I was like, well, it's a little on the dark side, but it actually does sound much better than this $200 thing. So I could have like, or it was $300 thing. So what you want to do is try 3 different mics out that are in that range that you can afford, that you can try out. And if you can't try them out, that's another reason why the $100 category is good. Because let's say that you buy a $100 condenser and you find yourself, well, it's okay, but it's not that great. Whereas this other $100 condenser I bought is fantastic. Well, now you can do 2 things. Now you can return the first one, or if you're not allowed to return it, you can sell that one at a loss. Because, I mean, you can always sell it on eBay for $90 or $80. You lost some money, okay, whatever. But you got to try it. And then you get to keep the one that you liked, or buy a second one of the one you liked used. So now you have 2 of the same one. Now you can do the weird mic tricks already. Now you can do the same microphone going through an effect, whereas the other one's clean. You get it? So it's not about which one, because I could, yeah, of course I can name you like, save your money and get yourself a U47. Save your money and get yourself a 414. But what if you don't have that kind of money right away? What are you going to do? Save up for an entire year to finally get a microphone to finally make a recording? No, that's bad. Don't do that. I would never tell anyone to do that. No. Get something you can afford right away. And if you can afford a $300 mic, just think of 2 150s or 3 $100 mics and play, because you're going to have play. I told you last week. And if you missed last week's, by the way, you should watch it because it was interesting. It was. I showed a mic that was under $2 that I recorded a record with. And I still have that $2 mic, and I still use that $2 mic. $2. And I still reach for it. So always try weird, charming, cheapy mics, except those little tiny ones that look like SM58s that are about that big that all the influencers use. Do not buy those. Even as a joke, don't do that. They suck. Sorry. Wow. We actually have a comment. Tube versus solid state preamp. Next question. No, I'm kidding. It's a weird red herring question sometimes, because I automatically want to say tube preamp because I love tube preamps. But you got to have the mental capacity to have a tube preamp, because they do require maintenance. They are noisy. They're a pain, and they're very easy to emulate. So you could go down the rabbit hole of finding interviews of me talking on the subject, and I will now be contradicting myself. But I actually am starting to really appreciate solid state now. Now, that doesn't mean I like them to be clean. This one is not clean. I'm actually using a very interesting preamp, which is a solid state, but it doesn't sound like it. I know it does not sound like it. Because there's a little bit of something, right? Because it has certain qualities built in that do it. So it's a strange thing. Like your mic first, but it's a weird thing. You can get a decent mic and a decent mic preamp that's a tube preamp like the one I have here, and spend $300, and now you have both. You have a nice microphone and you have a nice preamp with a compressor in it. So it depends. Now, if you say solid state as in the microphone preamp built into a Mackie mixer, or like built into like the mixer that I have down here under the desk that does the stream, which the microphone is not really going through the mic preamp. Yeah, I don't like them. I think they don't have any character. Okay? They have no character. But if you're talking about a solid state preamp, let's say on a SSL board, or a solid state preamp like a Neve, then we're talking. Now we've got flavors. So I don't care. Like my honest opinion is I don't care. If I was producing someone, I would care enough that I would want to try different microphones on their voice, and I would want to try 1 or 2 different preamps as well. But I'm pretty sure that if I found the vocal sound first, meaning that this is the microphone that flatters their voice, everything else is gravy. Because from there, I can emulate. We're at that point in time. I can emulate, add a little extra fuzz here, do all kinds of stuff to get it to sound tube-ish and even Neve-ish. In fact, if you don't know, there's a, don't ask me for the name because I always forget the names of things, but I do know that the plugin developer is Sage Audio, which is also a mastering lab. They made a a solid state Neve plugin that sounds unfrickin' real. How great it sounds. Insane plugin. And it's like 15, 20 bucks. So yeah, I would prefer to lean on the mic, lean on a really good solid state, clean or dirty. It could be a dirty solid state. I prefer the dirty side, but that's just me. So anyway, let's play a song. Yikes. What do I got here? Oh, this is that time. Almost. Oh no. Yeah, this is that time. So we have a half hour left. So before we do the last segment, which is a funny one, I think. God, is this going to go into... Hold on, let me see what's left. Did we do this? Yes. We have 2 segments left, and we're not going to make it. Practice before you record, but record everything. Yeah, we kind of did that one. I see. The last one's an easy one. We'll tackle that one on the way back, because that one's kind of funny. It pertains more to like away kits, if you're doing away stuff. But I wanted to play you something. This is that shill moment coming back in the middle of the promo it was supposed to be, but it didn't happen that way. But if you don't know, I do have a I suck at this. I really do. I still can't get this stuff right. I can't get it right. Thank God that this isn't my day job. I need to keep my night job, which is singing and playing music, because this job, no. Oh my God. So terrible at this. Anyway, as I was saying, I have Bandcamp. I have a Bandcamp page that not only can you get albums and music, but merch as well, which at this point in time we're down to shirts, some CDs, a book. The book is fantastic. You really should check it out. Wow, I can't believe I just said my own book is fantastic. Whoa, that sounded egotistical, Claude. Sorry, but I'm proud of it, okay? I am proud of it. But oddball things that you can't find everywhere, like the diary separate CD, distances on CD, things like that. There were other things that are now sold out, as you can see, or maybe you can't see, but it doesn't matter. And I also have a Patreon. And Patreon is like, I only have one tier, which is $4.50 for a month, okay? And the other one's free. On the free one, I do a lot of posts on Song of the Week, things like that. Like this last week, I just did Song of the Week, Heaven 60. If you didn't check it out, you should. All about the song and how I got the sounds and all that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, that's what happens. And I also do updates, like live updates. And so I wanted to play you an update that I am going to post. And it's not the whole thing, but it kind of gives you an idea of some of the stuff that happens when I'm on Patreon. And every week I try to do something different. And every month I try to give away some free stuff too. But here's an example. So I just finished a remix of sorts, and let's take a look, and I'll show you some stuff that's going on in my world, as it were. So we're in Ableton, and what you're looking at is the Ravine, a completely different version of the song. Here's the vocals. Let's play them real quick. Oops.
In the ravine, I found the answer.
Could bring in the remix drums.
Everything in your words, in your eyes, in your sight.
So this version, or there's a version that we used to play live, and a long time ago, and it was a remix that we were hoping we would get to, but we never got around to it. As I was cleaning up the old 8mm film, I came across the remix track, and it was awesome that I had this, and so I decided to break down everything and start from scratch. So the other cool thing is I decided that I can't show it to you for whatever reason. It won't show up on my screen, but I used to have a CZ101, which is a Casio digital synth, and I decided that I was going to work only using the Casio to do the entire remix parts. And so we wound up with like really interesting things like this little piano here that you're going to hear, which I was playing earlier, but yeah, we'll listen to it in context.
And so I must stay. And so I must stay.
So yeah, so stuff like that. That's not even the whole thing. I'm gonna put that up tomorrow or Monday. I don't know, like because I'm doing a whole little post on that. So if you don't mind story time, I'm gonna tell you a story. So I'll get into more detail about this in my Patreon and post about it. And like I said, a lot of it is free. Because I try to, I definitely want you to get something out of it if you're paying for it. So I'm going to definitely give the people that support me directly a lot more incentives than the freebies, but I do a lot of freebies. So I don't know how it even happened, but I was looking for footage. It started off with me looking for footage for Living in Oblivion because I'm going to redo the video. If you don't know that I'm doing that, now you know. But yeah, I'm going to be redoing the video and to the new version. And I thought, wouldn't it be good if I just took some of the old 8mm home movies that we made in Berlin and used them? Because I'd used them for the Ravine video. And so I decided I would go looking for those old transfers, and I found them. And they're in great shape. But the edit of the original Ravine video was not in good shape. Or I should say the one that's on YouTube is in terrible shape because it was like I didn't know anything about editing Or I shouldn't say that. I didn't know anything about the compression that YouTube does and how it changes things that are done on film. That's the right thing to say. It doesn't handle grain very well. And so even though it does look like 8mm film, it's lacking a lot of quality. And that always bugged me. So finding a really good version that I had saved with the grain and it looks really good, I thought, wow, I can actually put the video back up now with a much better rendition of the song. And so I mastered the audio as well. And that's how I found remix parts that I had forgotten about that were literally just sitting on a hard drive. So that made me happy. And so that will be added to whatever's coming next. But tonight, I will play you at least the audio for the video. And that'll be the last thing I basically play for the evening because we're, where are we? Oh yeah, it's almost time, isn't it? It almost is. I mean, see what I mean? Like time is flying, man. Like, is it not flying? Wow. So anyway, so the last segment was this. How to record your real emotions. And this goes back to the whole thing that I had said before. So this is a quick one. And this ends the whole, I hope you got something out of it, by the way. Like, I mean, you can bookmark this one and part one. I think there's enough ideas in there to get you in lots of trouble. So we touched on a lot of things that don't get talked about enough when it comes to vocal production. We got into the weeds a little bit, but I wanted to get into what makes a good vocal production. And so one of the things that I really think about when we're recording, and I actually learned this in Berlin, by the way. Thanks and shout out to Gareth Jones for this one, because I learned this from him. So if you want to learn techniques from people that are like freaking fantastic, you might as well learn from the best, right? So anyway, I learned from the best. So one of the things that I loved that he did that we didn't do on the first album, and it's like, again, I'm not throwing shade on anyone either. It's just a different experience. When we recorded, so I'm digressing. Shoot. When we recorded Peace, I treated the vocal sort of like what I always said. I didn't understand the vocal as being the most important element. I am the singer, mind you, and I'm the songwriter, and yet I did not understand the importance of it. So my idea of a good vocal was I go in and I sing it really well. And the production idea of a vocal in every situation I'd been in at that point and before that, that was the criteria. Just record a good vocal. Just get a good performance. But what does that mean? What is a good performance? That you sang it really well and in pitch? Sure. That you emoted? Sure, it is. But how do you get the song across? Like, what is it that makes the song so special? And that was something that I hadn't explored nearly as much until we did our second record in Berlin. That's when I really learned, because I remember Gareth would just stop a take and say, he goes, do you process the lyrics that you're singing? And I'm like, yeah, of course. Of course, of course I do. I have to. That's how I can get the emotion. He goes, well, you're saying something in that lyric that just sounds like it shouldn't be sung that way, because what you're saying should actually sound more aggressive. Only that phrase. And I was like, huh, why? And then of course I'm looking at the lyric and I'm like, I get it. Wait. And it's like a light bulb went off in my head and I realized I understand exactly what you're saying. And from that moment on, I got it. Meaning I can now pass it on to you. And this is what I'm saying. You can't just sing the lyrics that you wrote. Yes, you're going to be emotional. Yeah, the song's about a breakup. Yeah, so the song's supposed to be sad, blah, blah, blah. Is it though? Is it really sad? Like, let's say that there's a lyric where, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, she took the air out of your tires or something. I don't know, something like that. I don't know, something weird that happened that was not sad, but angry. How should you react? How would you react? Get yourself into that space. It's almost like acting. You have to become that person. This word or this phrase is sad, but what comes next is angry. It's a different emotion. So can you process it so that I feel it on the other side of the glass? So that if I'm recording you or if I'm recording myself, I have to feel that I got that across, that whatever that emotional shift was supposed to be in the middle of a verse, I could shift it. That it wasn't just I sang it pretty and it works. Obviously, I care about those things. I care. But this is where the performance really is a performance, because you are now thinking and feeling like I'm going back to why I wrote this song in the first place. What prompted it? It's not about like just laying down the vocal and then later saying, oh, on this part when I'm angry, I'm just going to add a fuzz box to it in Ableton or something, and it'll make it more aggressive. It should have been aggressive to begin with. It should have overloaded that preamp if it was supposed to be angry. The part that's really sad maybe was better super close, maybe even on a different mic, and recorded with real sadness. So those are things that I only learned later, and it was funny because I'll tell you something funny about Gareth Jones at that time when I was recording with him. He liked my pretty voice. He did. He said this. I like your pretty voice. I don't like when you do the scream thing. He didn't like it at all. And on half the songs I was doing it until we got to Beat of Life. And then he said, oh, now I understand why you do the screamy voice. And I wasn't doing it on that song. And he's like, no, it needs to come back for this song. He goes, there's no way you can sing Damn Machine Again all pretty. It doesn't work. And I'm like, so I was doing it right the first time. And he's like, yes, you were. Yes. And now he goes, and now I understand what we need to do when we do the rest of them. And so if you listen, pretty when pretty is needed, quiet when quiet's needed, gnarly when gnarly is needed. And it never changed from there. From there till now, that is how I do it. Meaning that I will sit down with the song, practice, and I will emotionally map out what's going to happen with me. Like I will literally go through the entire thing as if it's happening in real time. It's not going to be a quote, just a performance. It's not going to be just, oh, we're recording a take. It has to hit home on a word for word basis. So if I was recording someone, that is exactly what I would be doing. I would be telling them, hey, that lyric right there, what's the emotion there? Like, what's going on there? I mean, I know you say, because it could be very vague, right? The sun came down in glistening waves of light. What does that feel like? Like, what does that feel like to you? Like, I would ask them this. What do you see? Like, what made you think of that? What was going on in your life? And when the person gets into the emotion and they're smiling, let's say, and I'm like, oh, so it was a happy time. Oh, yeah, I was really happy during that time. It was the happiest point of my life. I'm like, then why do you sing it like you're sad? Oh, because see, the verse leads into the chorus, and the chorus is, I'm sad that those times are gone. Well, nice. Be sad. Feel that sadness that the times are gone. But when you're recounting those times, take me there. I want to feel the transition from this was the happiest time of my life to I miss those days. I want to feel it. If you just sing it pretty the whole way through, I might get it from just reading the words, but I'm not being taken there. Think of every movie you've ever watched. We're with those characters. When the acting is really good, you forget they're acting. You get into the movie. When a book is written really well, you're in the book. Why should music be any different? So that is how you balance your emotions and get them into the recording. Okay? So we're done for the night. I'm going to play you the last song. It is The Ravine, but this is the newly mastered version for the video, for the new 8mm transfer, which should show up pretty soon, but I kind of want to do the remix too. We shall see. So I'm going to see you on the next one. I hope you enjoyed this evening. I hope you got something out of this. I hope this gave you ideas. Watch it. Take notes. I forgot to say take your notebooks out, but hey, well, what can I say? I'm going to turn on the, let's see. Yeah, we'll do the drone cam. You can watch me close down, and I will leave you with The Ravine, the version that is going to be re-uploaded to YouTube. And here it is.
I found the answer.
I'm part of it. Can't you see it?